Where do we even start here? Let's start with Watson. I think it's the most obvious. Your thoughts on Deshaun Watson? Just we've discussed all the speculation about where he might go, but let's say for argument's sake he can be a Jet. You can go get him. Do you go get him?
Absolutely. I mean, I think you'd be dumb to not go get him. Even though you have your pick, I think that Deshaun Watson is much better than like Justin Fields or a Zach Wilson or something. And so I just think that, if Deshaun Watson is available, you have to do it.
If it costs the number 2,
yes,
the number 23, and next year's first round pick,
I still think yes.
You still think yes?
Because the Jets need someone to reinvigorate their system. And I just think that Deshaun Watson is the type of player who has some experience already. They don't have to teach him how it works. They know that he's a good quarterback. They've seen him in motion. They know that he works well with his team. And so I think that, yes, I think whatever it takes, you do what you can, because when else are you going to have an opportunity like this to get such a franchise quarterback? When will that come up for you again?
No, I agree. I mean, I've been on this boat for a long time. I think it's Deshaun or bust. I mean, I am all in. I'm all in. I think you go get him.
Yeah.
But I've heard a lot of people who felt differently. I don't know if you feel differently, Mike, but if you do, we can bring you in. I mean, do you feel differently on this, on Deshaun Watson?
All right. Yeah. So,
because I've had Jet fans tell me, don't do it. I mean, it's too much.
Anyone who's listened to, I know that last week or 2 weeks ago, I was on with Dylan Balsamo. He and I had a very in-depth talk about Deshaun Watson. I kind of wanted a passionate rant about how we need him and how I want him on this team. No, to me, this is the thing. People say you can't trade the franchise. You can't give them everything. This is a top 5 quarterback in this league. And the Jets have now had a top 5 quarterback in the league, arguably since Joe Namath,
right. And
I love Joe Namath. I mean, if I can meet one celebrity and have dinner with one celebrity, it might be him. But even then, I think history tends to overrate Joe Namath at times. So Deshaun Watson, if he came here, would have the opportunity to be maybe the best quarterback in Jets history, maybe the best quarterback in New York history, shot at Eli Manning, but we're not going to get into that. But, I think that, look, there's not enough. Do I want to give up Quinn Williams and Mekhi Becton? No. But this is the thing about a draft pick. It's a lottery ticket. You do not know, especially with the Jets drafting history.
Right.
The Jets, they never hit on draft picks. And when they do, they end up leaving. So it's just they could trade 1 million picks, and honestly, I'd be okay with it.
Well, look, I'm on that page. I've been on that page for the longest time. I've said those exact words to some of my friends, and I've been on that page. But let me play devil's advocate, because you guys are both on that side. So we can't have a show where all 3 of us agree and we just sing kumbaya, go give up the farm. Let me give you this idea. You trade 3 first-round picks. What could that be? That could be an outside linebacker.
Yeah.
That could be a cornerback and a receiver, right?
Yeah.
That could be, get another guy on the offensive line. That could be a center. Jets haven't had a center in forever, since Nick Mangold. That could be,
Weren't a fan of Spencer Long?
A big-time player. Well, no, I wasn't. Couldn't snap the football. So that's the other side of this, is that 3 first-round picks, for argument's sake, it seems like that might be what it costs. What if at number 2?
So what would you do instead, though? Like, what would you do otherwise with those picks? You know what I mean?
Well,
like, who would you still need a quarterback. So what are you going to do with that?
I mean, some people would dispute that. Again, I'm playing a devil's advocate position here. I think it's not Sam Darnold, but you could draft Justin Fields at number 2, who looked really good.
In one game.
But of course he did a lot more than that.
Sam Darnold looked really good.
The one game that we all watched. The one game we all watched. That's true. But there, Zach Wilson is somebody that's been talked about. I don't know a ton about him from BYU. So if there's a quarterback in the draft, there's still Sam Darnold. There's actually a quarterback market out there beyond Deshaun Watson. I don't know. Maybe the Jets go strike for somebody like Wentz, although I don't know.
I'm not sure that's an upgrade for them.
I'd rather just keep Sam Darnold.
Right. So someone on that level, right? Do you give up the farm, though? It's a lot. It is a lot to give up. And here's the other point on Deshaun Watson. As great as he is, and for the 4th time, I'll just say this is really not my position, but I'm gonna demonstrate it that way. This is a guy who couldn't find a way to win more than 4 games last year. This is a guy who, in a team that wasn't very good, Deshaun Watson has not found the success that you'd imagine him trying. You'd want him to, or you'd give up all that for him to go do in New York, and he hasn't been able to find it in Houston. What does that say about him? Does he have all the tools and have all the skills, but he doesn't have that Brady quality of being able to put together wins? He's got the pure talent, but hasn't been able to get a lot of wins at Houston.
I mean, look,
how do you explain that?
I mean, look, this season was bad, but I think this season could be. You could throw a lot of things. Talk about COVID. There wasn't a lot of in-person meetings. There wasn't time to.
Everybody had COVID.
Everybody. But this is the point. The point is that there are excuses for this. This is one season in the NFL. Deshaun Watson. Let's not forget. Last year, the Texans were obliterating the eventual Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. They were, just a few plays away. Was that the divisional round? It wasn't the championship game, right?
No, they did not go to the championship.
Yeah, it was not. So yeah, but if not for Bill O'Brien's, poor coaching and some bad defense by the Texans, who knows what would have happened? Deshaun Watson. Look, there's a reason why Tom Brady won the Super Bowl this year. It's not just because it's him. It's because the Tampa Bay is an amazing team. So Deshaun Watson can't just come to the Jets and automatically they're going to be a wild card team. And I agree, and Joe, this is the thing. Joe Douglas, as much as I want this trade to happen and as much as I would be fine with giving up, draft capital, Joe Douglas, based on his track record and the fact that he is a college expert, if you want to call it that, the guy who prioritizes the draft, the guy that delves deep into tape, from his experiences with Baltimore. If you look at Baltimore as a template for Joe Douglas' strategy with, let's say Ozzie Newsome is kind of like Joe Douglas. Ozzie Newsome wouldn't trade all his picks, so I don't think Joe Douglas would.
Right. If it's somebody who you think is going to be able to turn it around in terms of what the Jets have been able to do in drafts, and we like his first pick in Mekhi Becton, and then he's finally got a chance to draft at the top and draft a lot, and you take that away from him.
I like your point, Chris. I see your point, and I'm understanding it, and I like it. Because Deshaun didn't really do much with his Texans team last year, right? And so what we're saying, who's to say he's going to do much with the Jets?
If you put Deshaun Watson with Adam Gase, how many games does he win? Sam won 2, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think he wins?
Well, I mean, Peyton Manning, won a Super Bowl. Oh no, Adam Gase left by that point, but I mean,
no, they did win together. He was the offensive coordinator.
No. That Gase was gone by that point. I think he was Chicago by that point, wasn't he? Because remember, that was 2015.
I think he won a Super Bowl with Denver.
I'm gonna look that up.
We can check.
Fact check that.
But in any case, you put Deshaun Watson on last year's Jet team. How many games does he win?
Yeah, he was out of Denver by 2014, so he was not on that Super Bowl team.
But I just don't know what your better option is. I just am not sure that keeping Sam Darnold is your better option. And I'm not sure taking someone from college like Justin Fields or Zach Wilson, you never know how those things are going to play out. You really don't. And so I think that, yeah, you're losing a lot and it's a risk. But I think anyone else is riskier. So I think it's just like weighing your options here.
Here's the other thing. Like, the Jets, if they don't get Deshaun Watson, like Kayla says, I mean, look, I think we can agree, and I like Sam as a person. I want Sam to play well. Maybe he can turn it around this year. But I think from what the sample size that we've seen, I think let's just make a statement and say Sam's not the guy. Where do you go from here? I mean, like Kayla said, is it Zach Wilson, Justin Fields? We don't know. And if you get them, you're still going to be rebuilding for 2 or 3 years. Right. Deshaun Watson just signed an extension. You're going to have him under contract. I think he's under contract for like 5 seasons or something.
Something like that.
So you get him in here. I'm not saying Deshaun's going to want to go through some kind of rebuilding process, but if he came here and you kind of sold him on this plan for the Jets, because here's the thing, you don't get Deshaun, you try to get a rookie quarterback, and let's say that busts, then you're like 5 years from now, we're still in the same spot. At least with Deshaun, now we have the quarterback position solidified, and we can start moving forward. If we don't get it, all starts with the quarterback. I know we have to build the team, but if we don't have that, we're going to be that's why the Jets have been in an endless spiral, more or less since Mark Sanchez, because, say what you will about Mark, but, playoff winner. I mean, I think he gets kind of too much hate for the butt fumble, but we don't get.
Well, you brought it up. Nobody else did.
If we don't get that quarterback, we're just going to continue where we are. And so if that means giving up some picks in the short term, also the Jets, like you said, we're lucky that we have 2 first-round picks each of the next 2 years.
Right.
So,
look, it's a lot to give up. You can't just, be like, I'll give him anything. I don't agree with that. But Sam Darnold is 23 years of age. So I wrote him off this year because I was just fed up. I was fed up. But we all know, those who have observed the Jets, that Adam Gase is just the worst coach ever.
Right.
Ever. So you have that. And
Rich coat type with like a word.
I think Gase just takes the cake. I mean,
we didn't see coat type, but I mean,
No.
think. Oh, this is. I mean, Gase.
I have to ask
Gase
my
is
father,
good,
but
yeah.
I think he would. I think he would say Gase. I really do. I mean, I heard some of his opinions over the past years of Adam Gase, so it would be hard to beat.